assigned to it and debited when it's used. Its normal balance is credit. For example, if the law requires setting aside 5% of profits and the company earns $200,000, then $100 is allocated to the legal reserve. The next is cost of sales. Cost of sales represents the value of the merchandise that was sold. It is an expense account with a debit balance because it reduces profit. It increases when goods are sold and decreases if there are returns. It is debited with the cost of sales sold and credited with returns. Its normal balance is debit. For example, if we sell merchandise that costs $20,000, cost of sales is debited. The next is selling expenses. Selling expenses are the costs related to promoting and distributing products such as advertising, transportation, or commissions. Advertising, transportation, or commissions. They increase when expenses are recorded and decrease with adjustment. They are debited when expenses are incurred and credited if corrections are made. Their normal balance is debit. And we have an example. If we pay $5,000 for advertising, selling expenses is debited. Then the next is its administrative expenses. Represents the general operating costs of the company, such as administrative salaries, office rent, or supplies. They increase when expenses are incurred and decrease when adjustments. And decrease with adjustment. They are debited when the expense is recorded and credited if cancelled. Their normal balance is debit. And one example of this is if we pay $12,000 for utilities and office salaries, administrative expenses is debited. Okay, the next is retained earnings. Retained earnings represents the profits that a company has decided to keep rather than distribute as dividends. It increases when the company has net income and decreases when dividends are paid or when there are losses. We credit retained earnings when recording profits and debit it when paying dividends. Its normal balance is credit. And for example, if the company earns 50,000 net income, we debit income summary $15,000 and credit retained earnings $15,000. If later 5,000 are distributed as dividends, we debit retained earnings $5,000 and credit dividends payable $5,000. Okay, the next is called dividends. Dividends represent the distribution of earnings to shareholders. This account increases when dividends are declared and decreases when they are paid. Although part of equity, dividends have a debit balance because they reduce retained earnings. We debit dividends when declaring them and credit them when they are paid. Its normal balance is debit. And the example, if the company declares dividends of $8,000, we debit dividends $8,000 and credit dividends payable. Well, I'm missing a few minutes, so here I will add more assets and liabilities accounts. So let's start with the assets. Okay, for the assets, we have accounts receivable. Represents the money owed to the company by customers who purchase goods or service on credit. It increases when the company sells on credit and decreases when customers make payments. So, we debit account receivable when a sale is made on credit, and we credit it when the customer pays. And its normal balance is debit. So the example. If a client buys 4,000 of merchandise on credit, we debit accounts receivable $4,000 and credit sales $4,000. Later, when the client pays, we debit cash $4,000 and credit account receivable $4,000. The next. The next, prepaid expenses. Prepaid expenses are payments made in advance for goods or service that will be received in the future, such as a rent, insurance, or subscriptions. It increases when the company pays in advance and decreases when the expense is consumed. We debit prepaid expenses when making the